Hello and welcome to TNWKS, the Now We Know show, the show where we discuss a topic of interest and by the end we will have learnt something new and hopefully you will too. I'm Zach.
I'm Buzz.
And I'm Jack.
And today we have a special guest in the studio. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, my name's Grace.
It's Grace Jukes, because this episode is all about superfans, and we're talking Lord of the Rings. Yeah, there you go.
That's enough of that.
That's it.
If you enjoy the Now We Know show podcast, support Zak Wylde Productions on Patreon or join our members on YouTube for early access, ad-free content and exclusive episodes.
Before we get into the meat and potatoes of this potatoes superfans episode, all about Lord of the Rings, we have our little segment called Weird and Wonderful. Who's brought in a weird and wonderful story this week?
Not me.
I have. So it's all down to me, isn't it? Okay.
That's a big intro.
You'll have to decide whether this is weird or wonderful, or both.
If it's both, you
Or
get,
neither.
you get extra points because it's weird and
Are we keeping score on that?
Okay.
Yeah.
So my weird and wonderful story of this week is, okay, do you want to hear the title?
Yes.
that would help.
Officials find Michigan woman trapped inside toilet.
Why is it poo-based again? All these
Well,
weird...
it wasn't poo-based last
Last one
time.
was bogs, wasn't it?
Was
we
it?
were talking about bog snog.
Oh, but that was bog snorkeling. That was you.
Okay.
There's a tenuous link there. Really. A bog, a peat bog, is not the same as a
sorry,
WC.
Yeah. We did mention sewers though.
Okay. But anyway, police warned to not attempt to venture inside the containment area if you lose an item in an outside toilet. Okay. Okay. It's like an X-Files episode. Okay. Bagley Township, Michigan. A woman was rescued on Tuesday from an outhouse toilet in North Michigan after she climbed in to retrieve her Apple Watch and became trapped. The woman, whose name was not released, lowered herself inside the toilet after dropping the watch at the Department of Nature Resources boat launch at Dixon Lake. Police said Wednesday in a release. First responders were called when the woman was heard yelling for help.
Help!
The toilet
Help!
was removed and a strap was lowered in and used to haul the woman
God, how
out.
deep was this toilet?
Exactly.
Like a well.
They have big toilets in Bagsley, Michigan. So he said, if you lose an item in an outhouse toilet, do not attempt to venture inside the containment area. Serious injury may occur, state police said in the release.
Why was she unstrapping her watch while presumably...
The state police did not say on Wednesday if the woman was injured or if the watch was recovered. There you go.
Oh, I want to know. I want to know if they got it back.
Did she get her
How long did it take
watch
to get
back?
the stench off?
Oh, I don't know, but there you go. So
That is a long
So
shower.
there's some tips there, kids. Do not climb inside the containment area of the
Noted.
toilet.
Don't unfasten your watch while on the job. What else do you call it?
I thought maybe that was just unfortunate wiping accident.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Yes, it
I didn't think
probably
of
caught the strap or something and plop.
So anyway,
That was the weird and wonderful for this week.
on to Lord of the
I thought this
Rings.
needs more
On to Lord of the Rings, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh dear, yeah, Lord of the Rings. Dun, 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 dun. Did you meant to join in? No.
Da-da-da-da-da. Okay, calm down.
Okay.
Calm down.
I'm
Okay.
getting excited.
Rein it in.
Go on.
This is a family-friendly podcast.
Exactly. We love Lord of the Rings. You know, it's taken me so long to find somebody to come in to talk about being a fan of Lord of the
All right.
Rings.
Do you know what day it was on the 22nd of September?
Wednesday?
No, it was Friday.
It was a Friday. Okay. The answer to your question is no, Zach. I don't know what day it was.
It was Hobbit Day, a celebration of Lord of the Rings.
Or is it The Hobbit?
Is it more The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings?
Well, I thought there was a Lord of the Rings day.
There's Tolkien reading.
There's
Day.
Tolkien
Oh,
Reading
Tolkien
Day,
Reading
which we've
Day.
already
Nice.
done on the
Yeah.
podcast.
Yes, so.
But Hobbit Day was chosen because it is the birthday of both Frodo and Bilbo Baggins.
I didn't know
Right.
that.
And it was established by the American Tolkien Society in 1978.
Right. So Grace, our superfan special guest, did you know?
You're the nasty.
Did you know that?
No, I did not.
Oh,
I know. Oh.
First strike.
Batter out.
So we've talked about Lord of the Rings on the podcast before.
We have.
Yeah.
And now we've got a new guest
Yes.
to talk all about Lord of the Rings.
Yes. So let's start, shall
Yes.
we? Grace,
Oh no, here we
our
go.
superfan.
Inverted commas.
Well,
Superfan.
this is what we want to discover. What a superfan is. This is part of the.
true.
This is the whole part of the series is to kind of discover if there's a differential point between being what is a fan or being a superfan.
Yeah.
You know, or is a superfan somebody, and we discussed this before, is a superfan somebody who takes it too far and
Obsessive.
becomes
Yeah.
obsessive and a stalker, or is there what is a superfan? And obviously you've elected to come in today to talk about your fandom of Lord of the Rings
Yeah.
and everything Hobbity and everything else. So when did you discover
Sort of
Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit?
Yeah.
Or was this from childhood? Or?
Yeah, so my parents are sort of massive Lord of the Rings fans in quite a casual way, I would say. So they've always really enjoyed watching Lord of the Rings. So I grew up with it.
Oh,
ever
so you
since-
grew up with the movies?
Yes,
or
the
so you didn't
movies.
chuck yourself into the books?
No,
Right.
no. As I got older, I did obviously dip myself sort of into the books and start reading the books. But Tolkien uses quite complex language, and I must have just been illiterate or something when I was going through. I was reading them. I was like, I don't know what that word means. Cool. Wait till I'm a bit older to get into the books. So yeah, I grew up on the movies, and I'd always been around horses as well growing up because my mum loves horses. So of course, like
right.
the slow mo horse scenes in Lord of the Rings.
So, so you are a maiden of Rohan then?
That's it, exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah. Regular old Eowyn up in here. Yeah.
Oh,
No.
righty ho.
So what do you like about Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, I think.
That's a
Yeah,
broad,
sort
that's a
of,
broad
it's a
question.
yeah.
So yeah, what sort of
Everything.
something sort of cool?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like I just mentioned, I find the sort of stunts and things like that they do, the kind of slow-mo horse scenes, and obviously the fighting is epic as well. But I think being horsey myself, it was really cool to see how they kind of did a lot of the horse riding. And there's that really cool bit in the Two Towers where Legolas vaults up onto the
Oh, he
onto
swings
the horses.
round
He swings
the
round.
wargs.
when they're
I
wargs
think they
are
actually
attacking.
did that. I think I heard a fact
Really?
where that was about. They actually did it in reverse. So I don't. They reversed.
Oh,
the,
so
He-
he came off the horse,
yes.
swung round the neck, and then got trampled.
I know.
He managed.
That didn't work. I tell you what, we better reverse this.
He managed to suck arrows out of people onto a bow.
Yes, that's exactly how
And then
they
put it
filmed
back
all of that. Yeah, I'm not sure how correct that is, but I think I might have heard that somewhere.
Oh,
That's
pretty
how
cool.
they did
That's
that.
a fun
'cause
fact.
I was watching it. I was like, that's kind of defying physics. I wonder how they did
I
that.
think there might
And
be a
you-
bit of
No,
sneaky
CGI
CGI
as
in
well.
there.
Yeah.
You've got different types of horses as well. You've got the water horses in the thingy.
The Fellowship?
Yeah.
Fellowship of the Ring, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I can't
the flight to
remember.
the forge. That scene
That's it.
where
Yeah.
Arwen's. Yeah.
You got the red-eyed
Crazy.
horses, the
The
Nazgûl.
Nazgûls.
We were having a chat the other day about how the makeup on those horses was so good, with all the nails kind of sticking out of the hooves. That was, I think that was something that it is
Yep.
so disgusting.
And the red
looking.
eyes.
Yeah.
So did
really
you
grim.
see these movies when they first came out in the cinema?
No, I didn't see them at the cinema. So it was always at home, kind of on the TV and that
Right.
kind of thing. And yeah, I don't.
So
think-
how familiar are you with the extended edition?
Oh,
Oh,
we've
you've
really
called me
jumped
out.
in there.
Yeah, like, you feel, oh. Yeah, so I actually only recently discovered the extended editions, which
Okay.
I know,
Wow.
knocked off that superfan trophy like pretty quick there. But no, so yeah, I didn't sort of realise I grew up on the theatrical versions, and then I went into CEX.
Well, that must be superb to suddenly rewatch.
I know,
And I
and there's
take
all
it you
these scenes, and I'm like, oh my days, amazing. Yeah, so much context and really cool.
Yeah, because I'm just trying to think what scenes have we got in there that are add-ons.
Well, for instance, a couple of days ago, we did actually go and see the Two Towers theatrical at the Royal Albert Hall
Ah,
on Hobbit Day, which was the 22nd of September.
okay. Did other people there know it was Hobbit Day?
Probably not. No, there
Didn't
was no.
stop and ask. Excuse me, sir.
It just,
Do you- were
it just
you aware?
happened to be on
Can you
Hobbit
sign
Day,
this card for Frodo?
which was really cool because there was the live orchestra
Yeah.
doing all the music and stuff, and that was absolutely
And that was for the Two Towers,
amazing.
yeah?
The Two Towers,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Funny enough, Return of the King's next year.
Woohoo.
And that was absolutely fantastic to see. But it was interesting because it was the theatrical version. And I
Right.
did
They
notice.
actually screened it as well as playing the music.
Yes, so we watched the entire movie
Right.
with the live orchestra,
Uh-huh.
which was really cool.
That
Really,
would be,
really cool.
yes, I would imagine it would be.
And there were points where I was like, there should be a scene there. There should be
Yeah.
a scene there. If you remember when Theodred gets picked up from the side of the river,
Oh yes.
he just arrives at Rohan on the
on a
horse,
horse, and that
and you
would be-
don't see him get discovered.
Yeah.
In fact, actually, before we came in the studio, I think I sort of bumped into one when I'm so used to the extended version. I mentioned about the soup, what soup?
The stew.
Stew,
And him
yeah.
trying to like pour it out and burn it in his hand, and then you went, no, that's not in the theatrical
Yep,
version.
nope.
I was like, isn't it? I forgot about it.
Yeah, and it's really weird because as well, I would get a lot of suggestions on my YouTube kind of timeline and stuff of all of the extended scenes that weren't in there. And I was like, where were these? Where were
I don't
these?
remember
And I
this.
don't remember any of this. So I knew about the stew scene, and I thought that was in the theatrical. And on rewatch, I was like, where'd it go?
So this leads me to ask: have you? Obviously, you had the theatrical release
Yeah.
on DVD. So have you chewed your way through all the appendices?
They're only on the extended one.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
see what I mean? See what I'm so used to the extended one.
yeah.
So you haven't seen the
No.
appendices? Oh my goodness! Oh, can we have a
Such a
new
treat.
superfan here,
I know.
please?
We've never ejected a guest before.
I know. Didn't vet me.
Where's the button for the trap door? Just goes straight down into the cellar.
I just looked at the bookshelf and all the Lord of the Rings stuff, and that was what it
Yeah.
drew
Oh,
me.
right.
That was what drew me.
Well, I need
see.
to ask you guys, how many times have you read through the books?
Several times.
Oh, okay.
You've got to remember, I'm the oldest person here.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm
That's
over
true.
twice your
I've
age.
listened to it, and I'm
Nice.
Riddles in the Dark in the Hobbit.
And I think if you look on the shelf in there by the orange boxes in the gallery,
Far left.
there is the unabridged,
Peek behind the curtain for the listeners.
unabridged audio
Book,
in
yeah.
their book.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's very good.
That
So
is really
I once a year I'll dig that out and start working my way through it again.
That is
Yeah.
a lot of discs. That is a lot
I
of
think
discs.
that's
Just download Audible. It's easier.
no
Physical media.
Physical
Jack.
media,
We
Jack.
have already done a podcast
Quick,
on this,
push
Jack.
the button to the trapdoor. There's another
Two
one
of us
gone.
Not since the incident. They don't talk about the trapdoor.
That's what the other presenter went.
Makes sense.
But yeah, I mean, and of course that reminds you of all the stuff that is in the books
Yeah.
that obviously don't get into the film. But with the films, Peter Jackson, say, I think he did a really good.
Yeah.
Job.
Amazing.
Well,
job.
initially, New Line wanted him to do 2 films. They wanted him to condense it into 2 films.
No.
So
No, do it
the
3.
amount he actually got into 3 films
Yeah.
alone is pretty
Yeah.
impressive.
And the fact that
Definitely.
obviously he's taken artistic license with some of the characters because Arwen's far more in it than
She's
she
in the book,
is
yeah.
what's in the book.
Yeah.
And then obviously we're excluding Tom Bombadil, which
I was going to say, yeah, it was sort of.
I discovered actually that Tom Bombadil is kind of a love-hate character, which I like Tom Bombadil's character in the book, but I didn't realise so many people don't like Tom Bombadil as a
So
character.
who is Tom Bombadil?
Tom Bombadil is a character which kind of has existed since the beginning of time.
Is he like a hobbit? Is he a hobbit?
No, but he's kind of in tune with nature. He's kind of almost like, I mean, don't quote me on this, it's just the way my interpretation is. He's kind of a bit like a Green Man character. He lives within nature and he's everything to do with nature, but he is so far above and beyond and has lived so long in the world before any of the War of the Rings, before the elves, before everything he's existed. So none of that has any, he's not bothered by it at all. And in the books, he takes the ring of Frodo and he's like, not interested
Yeah,
in
so
that.
look at it, doesn't
Has-
it? And then just puts it
He's
like,
not
yeah,
interested in it
just,
at all. It makes no difference to him. It just
Yeah.
doesn't. Although I think Gandalf does refer to it that even if it was left with Tom Bombadil, at some point in the future, even then the evil of Sauron would seep through and
Corrupt
would
him.
be corrupted.
But
But
that's exactly why Gandalf can't do it. Can't take it to Mount Doom, isn't it? Because it will corrupt him.
yeah, but that's the point, I suppose, with Gandalf and with Galadriel and people. They've got the strength to kind of turn their back on it and say, no, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Because they know what will probably happen.
I mean, they are ring bearers themselves,
Yes,
aren't they?
yes.
you
Which
know
is
that?
the ring that Gandalf wears?
It's the fire one.
The fire ring.
They're
It's
in
called
the- they're in
the ring
the-
of fire.
Oh,
I can't remember the
back
name.
to that
It's
lady
it-
of
it's
the
like-
Apple watching him.
Is it Ninja or something?
Yeah,
Nenya
that's
is
it.
Yeah.
the one
Nenya.
Galadriel has. Isn't
Oh,
it?
okay.
That's all. Galadriel.
See, superfan.
Yeah,
Superfan.
Superfan, thank you.
You're back
See,
here.
you're back in the room. That's it. Push the button for the lift. For the lift. She's out of the cellar now. So yeah. So, but there are so many bits that are in the books that don't make it to the film, but then Peter Jackson does do a good job of kind of paying little homages to it.
Yes, definitely.
Treebeard, didn't he take some of Tom Bombadil's
Yeah,
lines?
and again, am I right in thinking that's in the extended version?
It's in the extended version, not the
Because
theatrical. I was really surprised. It's like Merry and Pippin when they were drinking the water and growing.
Yeah,
getting
actually, to
taller.
be fair, it was
That's-
interesting when
that
I'd read
wasn't
the
The
book.
water,
Yeah,
that's
was so
that's
much.
Ent draft, isn't it?
yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
That scene does feel a bit out of place though if you watch the extended version. It kind of
You-
kills the pacing a little bit.
I don't know.
Jack,
I
really.
suppose-
I'm just saying.
It's aliens again, isn't it?
It's aliens. We don't like the sentry guns. Jack.
Never said that.
Where's that button?
I'm
again?
going on record. Never said that.
So anyway, yeah, because obviously the hobbits, when they leave the Shire and they start making their way out of the Shire, then they come across this old man willow, which is this willow tree that starts to envelop them with its roots and to drag them down
Yeah,
into
and
the
I feel
ground.
like that scene really set the scene for when they're talking about it in the Two Towers as well, and they're talking about the old trees that are a bit out of control, and they're
That's
talking about the
Yeah.
forest being full of anger, but a lot of context isn't given to that. I feel like yeah, stuff like
and
that.
that's when Tom Bombadil turfs up and
Yeah.
saves them and basically says, drink deep, eat earth to the tree, and the tree releases the hobbits. And of course, then he puts that in and gives those lines to Treebeard because when they're
Treebeard, some call me.
that's it.
Very good.
Well, I think the opposite
We've
can
got
be
Treebeard in the corner.
the opposite can
I think we can have maybe the old Lord of the Rings guest making an appearance.
Well, I can try.
Yeah.
the opposite can be said for The Hobbit as a book, because that's obviously only one book, but they turned into 3 films and probably added more into the films than there was in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
Lord of the Rings is kind of the opposite in terms of there's so much they couldn't fit in.
Yeah.
Whereas
Well,
The Hobbit, they sort of stretched
Well, it's
out a
interesting
little
with the Hobbit. They stretched it. I kind of prefer the theatrical version of the Hobbit.
Really?
Well, it's got some good bits in there.
I really like the extended version, especially
No,
the
sorry,
second
did
one.
I say theatrical version?
You did.
Ooh, get it
Oh,
out.
my
Trap-
Trapdoor.
It's not just me.
Sorry.
It's just going to be Zach on his own.
Hi, this is the Zak podcast.
Yeah, no, I meant the extended version. Yeah, because it had some really good bits in there.
I love the explanation on the other
But-
Rings of Power. The other Rings of Power, like the Dwarven rings and things. It went into those a lot more.
But again, because I'm used to reading the Hobbit, the book itself, it's kind of over. I think there was a
Yeah.
lot that overdid it. And for me, comparing the Hobbit to the Lord of the Rings, there was way too much CGI in the Hobbit compared to the
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
You can't beat a physical suit.
Yeah, 'cause
on
they
a-
did that
on
with
a
the Uruk-hai, didn't they?
Uruk-hai
Yeah,
or
really cool.
or on the orcs and things, whereas they CGI'd a lot more in the Hobbit.
I always find the Hobbits are more like tonally, they're a bit more sort of family films, and the Lord of
Yeah.
the Rings is a bit darker. But is that the case in the books? Is the Hobbit?
Well, the Hobbit was a
It was a children's
book.
story.
Yeah, it was
Right.
written.
So it
And
does
then they
sort of make
asked him
sense.
to, I believe they asked J.R. Tolkien to write a follow-up children's book to The Hobbit, and then he just went bonkers into doing like this whole world, this world building, and it became. well,
Here's a
this is-
sequel for
this
you.
isn't-
He understood
This
the
isn't really
assignment.
for children, but yeah, exactly. So and he got carried away, and of course he designed the whole elven language, and
Yeah.
everything.
Because Bilbo's asleep, isn't he, for the Battle of the 5 Armies or something? He's knocked out,
Yeah.
Yeah, for the
and then he
majority
wakes
of
up
it,
and
yeah.
it's all happened. Whereas there is a 3.5-hour film of that bit.
Yeah, that's true actually. Yeah, I remember
One
as well in the
page.
book when I was reading the Hobbit book as well. I got to literally the end of the book, and it's like all the action happened right at the end. It was slow. It felt so slow to start with, and then it's the end. It's like it's all happening. It's all go.
Oh my God.
Literally, the films were so
But
paced
then
so
again, when you
differently.
come at the films, and then they've got these giant earthworm things, like
The
out of Dune, and you think,
Yeah,
where
I
the
guess
hell
so.
have they got these from? And of course, in the book, the 5 armies, one army is the army of the wargs,
Yeah.
and which isn't part of.
Yeah, the wargs don't seem to be very linguistically proficient.
You got Billy Connolly on a pig. That's what-
Yeah, that was funny. that is funny.
Would you guys just mind sodding off?
That's it. That's it. Oh, brilliant.
Grace, didn't you try and learn Elvish?
Oh, it would cross my mind
Oh,
like
please.
once, and I
Go
started
for it,
looking
go
at
for
it,
it.
and then no, and then I was like, yeah, maybe not.
Oh, you-
Can't
Complex.
measure it on
Oh,
YouTube. Very useful.
you
thought
could
about
have
it.
I
blagged us then.
definitely
You
thought
could have
about it.
blagged us then and just come out with
Okay, yeah, I could have done. He's like, I don't know, man.
I've already been insulted once today. It's not a kid.
In Elvish.
in Elvish. Awesome. So, As a fan,
Yes.
do you do things outside of just watching the movies, such as do you do Comic-Cons? Do you dress as characters? Do you have collectibles?
So I don't do the collectibles. Any opportunity at parties, obviously, where Lord of the Rings, I can sort of, shoehorn Lord of the Rings as a costume every time. Try and squeeze it in.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
I've got to ask. Which character then? Let's guess.
This.
Gimli.
Gimli.
Yes. Yes.
That's it.
Don't tell the elf.
Saruman.
Oh, Christopher Lee.
Everybody loves
he's a
Christopher Lee.
legend.
I mean, that's another thing in the extended ones that they cut out his whole death.
Yeah, well, it's
Yeah.
he didn't bother going to the actual red carpet opening of the last Return of the King movie, did he?
I don't
Because he
know.
went, nope, you've cut my bits out of it. I'm not bothering going.
He's also a very scary man, so I wouldn't cross him.
Well, he actually in World War II, he was quite a proficient
Was he SAS?
He was a spy.
spy. And he did so
He's
many.
done so
Yeah.
many.
He
cool
was
things.
like James Bond in reality.
He was. Yeah,
Yeah.
his
Characters.
cousin was actually Ian Fleming, who wrote James Bond.
But he gave advice to Peter Jackson on who's the character he stabs, the creepy guy.
Grima Wormtongue.
Yeah.
Yeah, he stabs him in the back, and
Yeah.
he was supposed to let out like a big scream.
Yeah.
and fall.
Ah!
But Christopher Lee was like, no,
No,
that's
that's
not
not
what
what
happens when you stab someone in the back. And you're like,
Okay.
It's more of a,
I can tell you that.
What he
from, I can tell you that from personal experience.
have you seen that behind the
the air just
scenes?
leaves that long.
Have you seen that behind the scenes bit where the guy who's playing Grima Wormtongue is like, if you enjoyed me doing that, you should see me with my Magnum.
It's slightly threatening.
But again, there's a nice big portion of the books that doesn't appear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get in Galadriel's mirror, you get a foresight of the scouring of the Shire.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
But in the film, obviously, and in the theatrical, you kind of left that Saruman has been left in Orthanc.
Yeah,
And then in the extended version, obviously,
it's
he
a
gets,
rather definitive
he gets
end.
a
Yeah.
definitive end.
Bye.
And of course, that leads on to more because obviously the what's the word of it? Plantier.
Palantir.
Palantir.
Jack knows all about Palantirs.
So you get the extended version where you see, is it Pip?
Pip.
Is it Pippin who picks up the Palantir?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you get those.
Give that to
bits.
me, my lad.
Yeah. So you get all those extra scenes. Kind of stems from the fact that Saruman has dropped it,
Yeah.
but in the
Yeah, 'cause
books,
he just sort of
obviously,
picks it up out of the water, doesn't he?
He does. Yeah.
You never see him actually drop
I
it.
always fear that they're going to fall down one of those massive holes.
Yeah. Literally.
When they're
Yeah,
walking
you
through
think
that
those
water.
sinkholes are going to go, but then in the books, obviously they do leave Saruman in Orthanc, but Treebeard, because he's again part of nature, and he's, if I recall correctly, he says that even with Saruman, he couldn't see, or he didn't feel it was right to have him caged like a caged animal, and that he must have sort of learnt, his
Evil doing.
lesson, and so
Yeah.
they let him out, or let him. Well, they couldn't get into Orthanc,
Yeah.
but they whatever they tried to break it with, because what it's made out of is like not normal stone or anything.
Yeah.
So they couldn't breach it, but they let him leave with Grima Wormtongue, and that's when he goes off to the Shire and does the scouring of the Shire and becomes known as Sharky.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because that's
Things
his
that
nickname.
were, things that are, and things
Not
that
yet.
yet come to pass.
So he goes off, and that's when he obviously ruins the Shire, and then by the time the hobbits get back, Frodo and Bilbo, and it's Frodo, not Bilbo, Sam, he's got seeds that Galadriel's given him,
That's right. Yeah.
Oh.
and they magically grow back because they've chopped down the party tree and everything.
No!
Not a party tree.
Exactly.
Oh,
My
Yeah.
favourite tree.
Well,
But
it's
It's
to
quite
celebrate
epic,
Bilbo's
isn't it? When they
birthday.
get back in the books, there's so much in there.
Mhm.
And sort of characters that you barely even sort of hear about in the movies and stuff
Mhm.
that actually sort of.
But it
really
is.
cool
I mean,
stuff.
it's hard because as people that make movies and people that have been in
How the
movies,
heck do you fit in
you
an
can't
Yeah.
fit
entire...
that in. And so you get the
novel.
fan base where the fan base complain, "Oh, you've left this out and you've left that."
Mm.
It isn't physically possible
No,
always to
definitely.
put stuff in. I remember on the,
That's why you do a
I,
TV
I
show.
think it was with the.
Controversial.
Controversial. We can actually get to that in a minute. But with the last of the films, the Return of the King, I think was it not Jack Nicholson who was at the red carpet opening of.
Yeah.
of
Oh, he
that.
said he left.
And he just said,
Yeah.
this film has got too many endings.
Yeah.
It's just like ending after ending after ending. When's this going to end? Because you've had so many endings in it, you know?
More.
So you just actually mentioned TV series. So Grace, as our Lord of the Rings official superfan,
With an asterisk.
with an asterisk. What about the TV series? And Zach's going to tell me off about this. The
Power
Lord of the Rings. Is it Power of the Rings, is it?
No.
No.
That's what yours-
you,
that's what
you
yours-
did it. You got me to say it wrong on purpose, didn't you?
What is it, Buzz?
It's the Rings of Power.
Hey.
Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power.
Say it with more conviction.
The Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power, Episode 1.
Very good.
Fair. That was acceptable.
Specifically.
There you go. I should know. I'm in the second series. Yeah, drop one.
Aren't they doing season 2 of that? Is that
Yeah,
finished
season
filming?
2. Yeah, it's finished filming.
Oh,
It's
nice.
wrapped because you should see me in that one.
Ooh.
So we just pick that name up for you.
Making my own cameo appearance in that one.
Maybe you're the superfan.
There you go. It's the beard. They love the beard.
It's the beard.
Anyway, so what about that series then?
I personally really enjoyed it.
Because that was quite controversial with a lot of fan base.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose if you're like a die-hard Lord of the Rings fan and you've read all the books and kind of know some of the history, I mean, they've done a pretty good job of tying in some of the lore and stuff like that. But I think wasn't there something to do with the rights as well? They had to be careful
Yeah.
what they mentioned.
Yeah, because they only had the rights to like 150 pages
right
of stuff instead of like the entire thing.
entire thing. So
Yeah, so they had to make up a lot to sort of fit
yeah.
in around that.
I feel like given that, I think they did a pretty
Yeah, well, I think again, it's one of those things. As a lifelong Lord of the Rings fan myself, I just see it as an interpretation.
yeah.
So, as I said to Jack before we came into the studio, back in the 70s, and I don't know if you've seen the animated Lord of the Rings
I
movie.
never got to the animated.
Right,
yeah.
so you got the old animated Lord of the Rings, and they did the animated Hobbit as well, didn't
They
they?
did 2, I think. Did
Yeah.
they do Hobbit and then Return of the King or something?
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen the Return of the King one, but
It's like a loose sequel, I think.
and I remember seeing that when that came out, and I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the way it was filmed because it was an odd way. They used animated characters, but they also had kind of live action characters
Oh,
in there,
wow,
which
that's really
the
interesting.
orcs and everything were
Well,
like.
I think they're traced, so
Yeah.
they're like footage, but they're
But
traced.
you can tell that they were people
Yeah,
in
yeah.
costume
Yeah, yeah.
on it, and I liked it. But a lot of people again didn't like it. But the thing is, that's just one version, and then years and years later, you get Peter Jackson, who does an absolutely stunning,
Yes.
stellar version. So the way I look at it with the Rings of Power, is that right?
Lord of the Rings, the Rings of
Rings of
Power.
I don't think
Um,
you have to say Lord of the Rings at the beginning.
He does it to me every time, Jack. Ignore him. So anyway, but seeing that, kind of, again, you're just saying, well, it's an interpretation. There's nothing to say that, 10, 15, 20 years from now, somebody decides they're going to do it all over again.
Yeah,
But they
absolutely.
have more rights to the works, and they do it all over again, and people go, oh, this is like Peter Jackson all over again.
Yeah.
You've got to like it for what it is. I
Yeah.
mean, I would prefer, personally, I like watching stuff that, so they're, Lord of the Rings associated, so it's kind of like, I'd rather watch it and have it than not have it at all. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Although some of the characters are presented brilliantly,
Mm.
the quality of the armor and stuff, which is, you compare characters in the Peter Jackson's films to the,
Yeah.
you think Numenor at the height of its power, and the armor's really crap.
Have you seen those memes? Yeah.
Yeah, the armor's really crap compared to
Gondor at its weakest.
Gondor at its weakest, exactly. But yeah, so it's horses for courses. But you like that.
I enjoyed it. I
Oh,
think.
sorry, carry on.
Yeah,
carry on.
no,
Carry on.
just
I
gonna
just suddenly
say-
thought something.
Oh,
We
exciting.
didn't finish an earlier question.
Content.
Sorry, carry
But
on.
no, I just thought that I think they did something very cool. It was sort of very engaging. I liked the story, and sort of, as you say, some of the armor wasn't, necessarily accurate or,
Or
whatever. But
bends
it
when they
looked,
fall
yeah. But it looked cool from a distance. If you squint, it's fine.
It's a 5-foot roll, isn't it?
Yeah,
I always
five-foot rule.
noticed
Just
in-
don't watch it on a 4K TV.
I was noticed in the beginning of Fellowship of the Ring, though, when Elrond stabs one of the people on the floor, his spear wobbles and stuff. So it's not completely...
Yeah,
You can't avoid it sometimes.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
Elrond?
Yeah. Is it Elrond?
No. That's
Hugo
Gilgalad.
Weaving?
That's Gilgalad who does this fellowship.
I'm pretty sure Hugo Weaving's at the beginning of
He is.
Fellowship of the
He
Ring.
is. He is.
Where he stabs someone.
That's not him with the. That's a glaive.
Oh, well,
there
it's-
you go.
he stabs
Sounds
someone and it
Get it
wobbles.
right,
It's not. It's not Hugo
I'll
Weaving.
leave-
It's
I'll be
Gilgalad.
leaving now.
It's like the only scene that guy's in.
Oh, it is Hugo Weaving.
No.
He is that.
He's there though.
The shot I'm talking about, Hugo Weaving, is that shot.
Oh.
It's the flashback bit at the start.
Okay. Okay.
I think I know the bit you mean.
And this
Yeah.
is when? In which one?
The first one.
The first Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, right, okay.
The
It was more of just a side quote. I didn't think it would be like this much of a conversation.
Sorry, I'm going to quickly hop back to the question that never got finished. With you going to fancy dress parties, we talked over you and we didn't find
No,
out
that's
what your character was.
It's not that exciting.
We
We just
suddenly
do like a
sort of went
Hobbit,
off on a tangent
usually.
with Saruman.
We did. Yeah, usually like Hobbit.
You dress up as a Hobbit.
Yeah, generic Hobbit number 1. Or
Right.
No, I'm joking. Yeah.
I mean, you have got the horses.
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
did you turn up at
should,
a
oh my
fancy dress
goodness.
party with a horse?
As a Nazgul.
Yes. Oh, yes.
That's it. You just spend all the evening hissing in the corner. I said hissing.
It's the pudding area. Whatever.
It's the pudding area.
Oh my.
But yeah, no, so.
So sorry. Do you turn up as a Hobbit?
I do.
Definitive,
Yeah, there we
it's
go.
a Hobbit.
It's a Hobbit. It's a Hobbit,
Okay.
yeah.
Have you got a cape?
Yeah, I did. When
Do
I
you
was
fluff
younger.
your hair up?
Do I fluff?
Well, hobbits are notorious for having lots of hair.
They are. Yeah, no,
Hairy
Have
feet?
Hairy
Have you got
feet?
hairy feet?
I just have naturally hairy feet, so yeah, just tuck the beard in and yeah, no. When I was younger, I bought a cape for riding just because I loved Arwen so much. Obviously, I couldn't cosplay Arwen because I didn't have brunette hair. You gotta get it right. So, but I bought a cape for riding in so I could pretend I was an elf.
Cool
Well.
stuff.
Shouldn't probably admit that really.
Again,
That's a
again,
super fan thing.
So-
to do.
I was going to say again though, even in the extended version, it doesn't get shown, but in the appendices that they brought Arwen into the battle at Helm's Deep, didn't they? She actually turns up with the elves.
What? Really?
Yeah, really.
I did not know that.
No, Arwen turns up at Helm's Deep, and she's in the Battle of Helm's Deep,
Oh.
fighting against all the Uruk-hai and
That's
everyone.
pretty cool.
But then they decided to cut that out,
Oh.
so it's only the elves that turn up. Which, am I right or wrong? Oh, silly. The elves don't actually turn up at Helm's Deep.
We do.
In the books, they don't.
No, in
No,
the
in
books they
the
don't.
books they don't.
No,
No,
they
But
don't.
in the
No.
movie,
In the
they
movie
do.
they do.
They do.
But
I was quite
minus
disappointed
Arwen.
when I read the books. I was like, "What do you mean?" It was like one of my favourite
What
scenes.
about Haldir?
Doesn't Helm's Deep last
know.
like several days as well in the books?
Yeah, it
The
would
actual
have done,
battle
yes.
lasts
Yeah.
several days, yeah. Whereas in the film, it's very much just
One night.
Yeah.
And it's not
Couple of
really.
One evening.
It's kind of left, and again, it's ambiguous to what the fire from Isengard actually is that breaches the wall. You know, so
Bombs.
bombs.
That's
Did
bomb.
you say bongs?
No, bombs.
A load of
Bombs.
Uruk-hai under there,
Lord of the Strings.
toking on bongs.
What's the wizard called in Lord of the Strings?
Lord of the Strings. Oh, have you
Oh,
not seen Lord
no.
of the Strings?
Don't watch Don't
Okay.
don't watch it.
Oh, no.
That's Smirnoff the wizard.
Oh,
And the
dude.
bad one is Soras, isn't it? Soras.
Dildo Saggins.
Dildo Saggins. That's an interpretation of Lord of the Rings.
There we go, yeah.
Yeah,
Shout out-
everybody's got to say.
shout out to the people that don't
Thankfully,
like
there
Rings
is no
of Power.
celebration of Lord of the Strings.
There's
There's no official day.
I think isn't it actually called
Well,
Lord of
can
the
we make it
G-string?
today?
Yes.
Lord of the
yes,
G-string, isn't
yes.
it? That's it.
In order to sell it on a DVD shelf. you know.
Yes.
That's my
It's
favourite
because you could dress up as a throbbit next time. That's what they're called throbbits.
Oh no! There we go. That's a nice fancy dress idea, right, guys? Hey.
Hey, I'm a throbbit. My name's Dildo Saggins. That's what it was.
It is the superior. Some would say it's the most accurate interpretation of the book.
Especially the CGI, from what I remember.
Yes,
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Didn't have Gollum in there who makes an appearance as well.
Precious. Anyway, what was the name of Gollum in that? Do you remember?
No, I don't.
I don't either.
Oh, we just have to rewatch it. That's true. We can make today's Lord of the
There we
Strings
go.
Day. It's the day
Lord
after,
of the Strings Day.
it's the day after Bilbo's
Yep.
birthday.
Nice.
I mean, it's part of Hobbit Week.
Oh,
There we
no.
go.
There you go.
Or
there.
Tolkien Week. That's it.
Tolkien Week. I don't think.
Not to be confused with Tolkien Reading Day.
I don't think he would have approved.
No, somehow.
Throbbit Day.
Throbbit Day. Oh dear, where is this? This Superfans episode is going down the drain, down the what was it? The outside toilet
Oh no.
area.
Just for record, this is actually being recorded on the 23rd of September.
Oh, there you
Which
go.
is now being christened.
Throbbit Day.
Throbbit
Day. There you go.
Oh no.
Henceforth.
Henceforth, from this time onwards, it shall be known as Throbbit Day.
So I wanted to ask you guys: have you guys ever done cosplays of Lord of the Rings and stuff like
Yes,
that?
Okay.
Wait, wait.
Have you?
No.
Yes,
You have. You lie. You lie. You have.
You have.
Oh, I was an orc once, wasn't I?
Oh, you blow the. I was going to say, see if Grace can guess what
Oh.
characters we were.
Oh, okay.
I was an orc once.
I'm gonna say, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, so Jack played an orc. What about
That was several years ago.
Would you do something? I reckon you'd be like an Aragon. I
It
reckon.
was actually a bit of a curveball because it was kind of like a mixed.
You were
Oh,
Blackadder.
wasn't
it? Who's kind of
Blackadder, weren't you?
Yeah, Blackadder.
Ron Atkinson.
I should have guessed that. Would be very impressed.
He was wearing his black Russian at the time.
It was a moustache.
No, black Russian's a codpiece.
No, but I was wearing a moustache.
Well, where your codpiece should be.
holding your Hobbit.
Oh dear. Yeah, it was actually called. What was the
Lord of the Blackadder's Ring.
Yeah, Lord of Blackadder's Ring.
Wow.
You're familiar with Blackadder, I take it.
Yeah, I haven't watched the whole thing. I've just seen
Right,
clips and
okay.
stuff of it. But
Yeah, so it was a bit of a mix, but it was quite fun. So what was my character?
No,
then?
what was it that we were doing? It was a banquet.
It was a banquet.
It was a
yeah.
banquet,
Ah,
but we
nice.
couldn't decide on a theme.
Whether it was going to be Lord of the Rings
Or Blackadder.
Blackadder. So we did.
We did both.
Why not? Why not? I feel like you'd just gun for Gimli. I feel like. I don't see.
John for Gimli.
Axe
You love
for
John
Gimli.
Rhys Davies, don't you?
Yeah,
Big fan.
Big fan. Indiana Jones and the rest, you know. No, I was. You had my weapon in your hand earlier.
Oh,
Oh, you
That
did
was,
Theoden. You did Theoden.
Stop it, Jack.
we're not supposed to mention that on the podcast.
Good grief.
I'm talking about the sword of Theoden's sword.
Right. Yeah.
You dirty boy. Dirty boy.
Grasp your weapon. It was the soldier.
Oh,
He was wielding my weapon with both hands.
in the private pudding room.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that's
There you
not,
go.
we're not forgetting that, are we? Oh no.
Anyway, yeah. So I was King Theoden,
Nice.
which was good fun.
It was a good banquet.
It was
actually.
a good. It was
really
a good banquet. Yes.
We did have a tree beard.
Yes, we did. John Burstow
Yeah.
turned up as Treebeard.
And a Nazgul.
A Nazgul. Oh, actually, I think we had 2 Nazguls.
Really?
Or might have even been 3, but definitely
Actually,
2.
yeah, I'm surprised you didn't do the Nazgul because you've got gauntlets that look kind of very Nazgul.
That was before. That was
Was it before?
That was
Wow.
before.
This was about 13 years ago.
Oh wow!
This was a long time ago.
Damn.
A long time ago.
Nazgul!
That's it. Yeah, good times they were. So,
Yeah.
anyway, what else can you tell us about Lord of the Rings from a fan's perspective?
Very
Two
broad.
questions.
Did you
broad.
spend your time listening to the to the CDs in your car?
I did, yeah, and obviously had like my text tone set as the Hornburg and things like the beginning of it. Yeah.
That's me
Well, it
after
was
the
always,
theme song.
it's actually the track. Yeah.
It's the horn of Helmhammerhand.
will sound in the deep one last time.
Nice.
Yes!
Yes.
I think for me it was more when I was growing up. It's interesting. I noticed with you guys, you're obviously very good at remembering specific things from the movies. I think for me, being a musician, a lot of it was kind of I was very inspired by the movies themselves, but not necessarily because I remembered specific scenes from them. It was kind of things like the soundtrack and kind of the way things were filmed, and obviously, like I said, the stunts and the fighting scenes. Just it's so immersive the way it was done.
Yeah.
You would
I
very
know
enjoy
that-
the appendices then. 'cause
Uh,
that's a lot
yeah.
of, like, the
And the-
behind the scenes
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
The music can be so, inspiring,
Powerful.
powerful.
100%, yeah.
I mean, for me, it's the
amazing.
ride of the Rohirrim when they get ready. Spears shall be shattered. Shields shall be shattered. Spears will be broken and it's
Splintered.
There you go.
Yeah.
Something like
And,
Power of the Rings.
That's it. That's it. Because they're really bad with props. That's why. But yeah, no, having all the Rohirrim charging down
Yeah,
into
and
the
obviously
battle.
I think that behind the scenes sort of stuff with that as well. Obviously finding out that a lot of those were like female riders with beards
yes,
stuck
they got
on, and I
beards.
just thought that was so
That's
amazing.
because they didn't have enough.
Yeah, they didn't have enough
male
males, yeah.
riders, and one of them took a shine to Viggo Mortensen, and yeah, obviously you don't know this.
No.
Oh no, they had a relationship, a really close relationship on set, and
Right.
and there's loads of photographs of them both together, but she's still got a beard and moustache and everything. So they spend all this time. She's got
Just beard stuck on. Amazing.
Talking about hair and wigs and things,
Yep.
do you remember that scene with Gollum and Frodo and Sam where Gollum pulls them backwards at the Black Gates?
Oh yes,
There's a story there, isn't there?
There is, because you know the bit we're talking about.
Yeah.
And when Andy Serkis is doing that, he grabbed who's the actor who plays Samwise?
Sean Austin.
Yes,
Austin.
He grabbed his wig and pulled them back, and his wig is was knotted into his own hair, and nearly took his scalp off, and that was a bleep 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 moment. Really, he really got really angry, and it took him a long time to calm him down to get him to redo that scene. And Andy Serkis was like, "I'm really sorry," but he ripped his hair out.
Yeah.
filthy little thieves. It's ours it is, and we want it. Anyway.
Yep. But yeah, you've got to watch the appendices. It's just like absolutely fantastic. The stuff you'll learn.
Definitely.
all
I
the way
think
through that.
a lot of it I've caught from snatches and stuff on this kind of YouTube, but I've never actually done it on the discs from the extended edition.
Okay. Well, in
So-
this day and age of streaming, I'm going to ask you:
Yeah.
do you actually have a disc player?
Yes. I had to.
Hey!
So, well, yeah, I was really disappointed. I got myself a Mac for my music sort of and doing that, and then obviously found out that they don't come with disc players anymore, so I had to get an external disc
Right.
drive. And now
So if you're watching a DVD or such like, you'll be watching on your Mac.
yeah.
So you don't
Yeah.
have a dedicated.
I don't. No, I
on
have
your
to
TV.
wrestle with the family downstairs. They have the TV. I
All
have
right. So
take
Do
it
they
all
have a
down.
player?
Yeah, they do Blu-ray player.
I could just
downstairs.
imagine you like surfing down the stairs on your shield.
That's it, exactly. It's my turn on the TV. Get out! It's time for Lord of the Rings now.
Is the coolest Legolas figure.
Oh my gosh.
The one with
Yeah.
the Urukai skateboard shield.
Skateboard shield.
It's got wheels. It's
Has he
amazing.
got wheels? What does it
Yeah, I
look?
haven't got it. I haven't got it.
Oh no! And you're our main collector. Of...
Well, I've got a warg. Got a
Yeah,
warg
got a
with
warg.
Not a
chomping,
skateboard
That's not a skateboard.
chomping
That's-
action.
I'm sorry, that's way down.
Yeah.
You need
I've
that
got
skateboard
I've got a
shield.
Witch King. That's really hard to
But
find.
it's not a skateboard shield. Zach.
Not a
It's
skateboard
getting
shield.
the point.
It's not good enough.
It's not
Come
as
on,
cool
come on.
as
Buttons,
Legolas.
It says words.
It's not as cool as Legolas. You think that's cool, but it's not as cool as
I've
Legolas
got
on a
so
skateboard
many
shield.
Legolas figures.
It's not enough.
So I have to ask you guys, what is your sort of if we're gonna pick? I'm gonna pick a film because we obviously saw The Two Towers recently. So I'll pick one from there. What is your favourite scene from The Two Towers?
The
Have
Two
you got-
Towers?
Yeah.
Damn,
Have
that's
you got?
hard.
Because I asked you this the other day, didn't I? And you were
Yeah.
like, "That's a harsh question."
I think for me, it's when Gandalf arrives at the Rohirrim place where Theoden's been possessed.
Yes.
That's probably my
Yeah.
favourite scene.
You wouldn't part an old man from his walking stick.
Little wink,
Yeah.
wink there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love the way he then, Legolas just goes over and grabs his arm and he's sort of like hobbling in. Just- and decks Theoden with his power.
Yeah, that's a very good
Yeah.
scene. I like that one.
Or I mean, Helm's Deep's the obvious one. isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
That's a
mean,
grand one.
There's sort of more than one scene there. It kind of drags out throughout like half.
Yeah,
the film.
it does. Yeah, you're right.
I like the Ent stuff when the Treebeard discovers that obviously the trees have been
Yeah.
killed. And he's like, "A wizard should know better."
Yeah.
It's a very- yeah, definitely. But
Or the
again,
wargs. I love the
Yeah.
wargs.
Yeah.
The wargs are cool.
I'm gonna be boring and say Helm's Deep. I just like that.
That's not boring. That's anything but boring.
Yeah.
It's the build up to it, and
I was going to say, it's the quiet, isn't it? Well, it was
Yeah.
quite
When it starts
poignant as
raining.
well when we were obviously watching the orchestra play.
yep.
And obviously they were just, everyone was still, you couldn't, there was nothing going on. The orchestra just poised, ready to start playing, but it
I
was
think
just
I
that
think it's
quiet
just a bit,
bit.
and then it just starts to rain, and you get the
Yeah.
the
And
rain.
It's like
on
a
the
heavy
armor.
rain.
The old guy
Yeah.
with the bow and arrow accidentally shoots one, and that's
Well,
like the
he
beginning.
Yeah.
When
he
that
shouldn't have drawn the bow.
when that Urukai falls over, the arrow actually
Goes through, I
goes
noticed
through.
that,
That's really
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
It was a good detail actually, so they don't often do
And
that.
of course, you see Peter Jackson in that scene as well.
Yeah,
don't
he
you?
throws a spear.
Yeah, Peter Jackson.
I didn't know.
You didn't know?
Oh my goodness,
So
I have
it's
so
all three.
you
many
got
things
Peter
to...
Jackson appears in. Okay, let's see if you can get this, Grace.
Oh no,
In
Fellowship
the
of the
Fellowship
Ring.
of the Ring, where does Peter Jackson pop up?
I didn't know.
This is a mini quiz.
In the quiz. There you go.
I'm going to fail the mini quiz. I did not know Peter Jackson popped up in the
Yeah,
Fellowship of the Ring.
he's in the first. Okay, so who wants to field this one?
He's one of the. Is it the Prancing Pony?
He's
As they're going
outside the
towards
Prancing
He
Pony.
bites a carrot or
He's
something.
he's sitting in the
yes,
correct
now you said that, yeah.
in the rain, and he bites a carrot.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. We've just said he's there, throws a spear,
Nice.
and in the Return of the King. No,
Is
I mean,
this-
I didn't
this
even
might-
know. So
Is that
little
only
Easter
the-
eggs
he
that I
makes
didn't even.
cameos.
Is this only
Because
the
I knew his
extended one,
kids
though?
were in it, aren't they as well?
Sorry.
I think might only be in the extended one, isn't he? Peter Jackson. 'Cause he's on
I can't tell you because I haven't seen the theatrical for so
version.
long.
I always remember that guy with the tree.
You
and the
do
carrot.
see, but he doesn't say anything in the theatrical
Right.
version.
Right.
You see what happens to him in the extended version.
Right.
Ooh.
In the
It's a clue.
theatrical, the
What
theatrical,
happened?
It's like a cutaway. It's a
Yeah.
cutaway when Gandalf's saying something or somebody's saying something.
he's on the black ships of the Corsairs that are coming down the river. He's one of those.
on the
is
south
that
south
Osgiliath?
runs.
And
Is that-
he,
is that the one you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
and he
he's-
gets
he's on the
hit by
boat.
an arrow, doesn't he?
Yeah.
From Legolas. That's it. Gimli nudges his bow. He says, Aragorn says, yeah, shoot.
Fire
across-
warning shots.
Fire a warning shot. And Gimli bangs his bow just as he looses and sticks it in Peter Jackson.
Amazing.
It's just really good.
That is.
Aren't we nerds?
Where is he in the Hobbit? Is he in the Hobbit anywhere?
Yes, he's
Is
in
he?
one of them. Again, Carrot Man.
It's Carrot Man. Right.
Carrot Man, the other
Yeah.
wizard.
Because we want to
Yeah,
do
that's his credited appearance as well. Carrot Man.
We have to put a little homage to that in Hartsfield, the identity
Yeah,
stealer.
potato.
You're going to have to be Potato Man, aren't you?
Raw potato.
That's it, raw potato. Well, it's a pomme de terre. It's an
like
apple of the
Jabberwocky.
earth.
Like Jabberwocky.
Jabberwocky. Oh, have you ever seen Jabberwocky? That's a
I've
brilliant
got it on
movie.
DVD.
Yeah, you've not watched
Good
it?
movie.
Oh, it's
It's funny.
brilliant.
Is it Terry Gilliam?
Yeah.
Terry Gilliam and most of the cast, well, not most, but a lot of the cast of Monty Python's.
Because I always used to think it was Monty Python, but it's not, is it? It's like its own thing.
Well, he did Terry Gilliam. He did other things like
Time Bandits.
Time Bandits,
12
and,
Monkeys. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
what's the Baron Munchausen, things like that. Not seen that one. No. Just looking blank at me.
Well, I named two other ones.
I named Time Bandits.
Yeah, Time Bandits.
Time Bandits and Jabberwocky. That's my
But
contribution.
Jabberwocky is great because it's got a potato that kind of goes all the way through the film, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The theme.
This is this potato that goes all the way through the film.
Ah, a symbol of our love.
Yes.
I shall cherish it forever.
Forever.
I actually heard recently that Guillermo del Toro was supposed to do The Hobbit and not Peter Jackson because he was fresh off the back of. Well, I don't know if he was up for doing The Hobbit, but he didn't want anyone else to do it. So he decided to take it on himself, which is why he lost a load of weight and got quite ill during The Hobbit.
Gosh.
But I've heard it was supposed to be Del Toro, which would have been really interesting because he's got quite a unique style. So
Yeah. So when did the Hobbit films come out?
First one was 2012,
Hmm.
then Desolation of Smaug was 2014,
Right.
and then Battle of the Five
So
Armies.
I
must have
guess
been
at that
a
point,
couple of
Del
years later.
Toro was doing Pacific Rim.
Probably.
Interesting.
Well, I will say, since you mentioned the Desolation of Smaug,
Smaug.
have you, Grace, have you seen
fire.
Benedict Cumberbatch playing the part of Smaug,
Yeah.
doing the
he's got-
motion capture?
Yes, I
That's
have.
awesome.
Yeah. I haven't seen much footage of it. I've seen
It's
photos
really-
of him doing it,
Yeah,
and
if
I
you
never
see the
realised.
footage of it, it's fantastic because he's doing all that.
Really
movements.
sort of getting physical with it. Yeah.
I have one problem with that. The fact that in the intro of The Hobbit, you see
Oh, yes.
the front legs of Smaug. Because it doesn't make any sense if his back legs reach round the door at Erebor
And pull them up.
and pull them backwards. Because where's
Yeah.
the front of his body?
Yeah,
And then later on,
he becomes
he's
a wyvern.
he's a wyvern, just back legs.
Dragon having 4 legs
Yeah.
and a wyvern having 2.
So
For
what's
those
the one on the Welsh flag? Is that a dragon?
Yeah,
That would be
it's
a
got
dragon,
4.
Welsh
It's
dragon.
got 4.
It's got 4 legs. So 4 legs. You can have. I think you've got. Is there a difference between a dragon and a drake? Is a drake the one with the wings, or the
He's
or
a
one
rapper,
without?
isn't
A drake. But you get ones who've got wings and 4 legs, and ones with 4 legs and no wings.
You got ones that are just worms.
No,
Got
The
our
ones that are
dragon
called
experts
verms.
here in the
Yeah,
studio
the
today.
Verms,
And
which
you've got a
are-
griffin.
the griffin's
That's
nothing to
not a
do with a
dragon.
dragon.
I'm just trying to I just want to be involved.
Have you ever
left out.
have you ever heard of a centaur?
Yes. or a cyclops. That was
You
one
could
of the
dress up
things.
as a
I
centaur.
like that.
That
we
was
should,
the-
we should go around. Everyone name a mythological
A mythological
creature.
a methodic
until we can no
theorem.
longer name one.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll have to give it a try. But
Shut down.
damn, shot down there. That was me not
Trying to
saying
make
it.
new content.
New content. Okay, go for it then.
Werewolf.
Oh gosh, we're going that kind of mythical.
He's
We're
a
not
mythical
just-
creature.
No. I can see what you're saying.
Or is
Oh,
it?
Vampire. Then we're just going to go through all horror creatures.
all the
aren't
ones
we?
both of which we've done podcasts on.
Yes.
There we go.
Nice.
See, promotion as well.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to go exotic. I'm going to go for a chimera.
Oh goodness. I was going to go Minotaur, but
Oh yeah.
That works, yeah.
Classic.
Or is
As
it
a classic.
Minotaur?
oh,
Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger,
Tiger.
a Minotaur.
A Minotaur.
Oh.
Yeah, but that
Phoenix.
was metal. It was made out of bronze.
Yeah, but it had the heart of a bull.
Phoenix.
Strong bull.
That's my one.
Phoenix. Okay. Did you say Griffin?
I did earlier, but not
Okay.
since the game started.
Okay.
this is
in that
game.
case, I'll go for Sphinx.
oh.
Ooh,
Sorry, I
okay.
just found that word funny.
Sphinx like
Nearly as-
sphincter.
nearly as-
Sphincter. Like moist.
Oh, flange.
Moist flange.
Inverted Firkin, that's it.
Kraken.
Kraken.
Ooh.
Well, I was going to.
Is this continue, or is it Kraken? Are we continue
Kraken.
A moist kraken.
moist? Anyway,
Release the Kraken.
Anyway, Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. Yeah, back to Lord of the Rings.
Back to the topic.
Right, back to our
How do we
superfan.
how do we bring this back on topic, guys?
Right, well, I'm going to bring it back on topic because I have got. Okay, when we have a special guest in,
Okay.
we like this little segment. Okay, which is our 6 quickfire questions.
Oh dear. Okay.
Are you prepared for 6 quickfire questions?
Absolutely not. But let's go anyway.
Okay.
That's the spirit.
So that is the spirit.
Yes.
So let's go for it. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Question number 1. Who is your favourite character out of Lord of the Rings?
Okay. Oh, let's go with Eowyn. She's so cool.
Okay. What's your most memorable moment in Lord of the Rings?
It's got to be Flight to the Ford with Arwen. It's so good. That moment.
Question number 3. Who is your favourite villain?
Favorite villain? Ooh, Grima Wormtongue, because he's just played so well. Played so well.
Okay.
It's
Question
gross.
number 4. What is your favourite piece of Lord of the Rings memorabilia?
Memorabilia.
If you haven't already got it, if you could own something.
So when I was younger, I had I think it's the Even Star by the Arwen's
yes.
necklace. That was, I would go around wearing that.
You had it. Don't
I
you have
had
it
it.
now?
No, it broke.
No.
It broke. I know. I actually bought 2 as well because the first one broke and the second one broke, and I was like, you know what?
Was it
It's
the
not
same
meant to be.
manufacturer?
I was going to say,
Obviously not a practical design.
I know, right?
you weren't redoing the scene from Lord of the Rings where you see it shatter.
Sorry, I don't remember that's the
That's Lord of the G-strings
Lord of
again.
the Rings again.
Shut up. Okay.
I've been struck.
Anyway, right, question 5. What's your most interesting Lord of the Rings trivia that most people wouldn't know about?
Well, I don't know that most people wouldn't know about, but I'll tell you my favourite one is the fact that Sean Bean wouldn't get in the helicopter because he was
That's quite
afraid
funny,
of
yeah.
getting in the helicopter. So he used to walk up the mountain every time they needed to do a scene on it. He just refused.
He did
point
the
blank.
actual journey.
Yeah, he was.
There's the journey.
He walked to Mordor.
Yeah.
He walked to Mordor.
Oh,
Final
savage.
question. Okay, final question. What race would you choose to be from Lord of the Rings if you were a
Elf.
character?
Obvious. Oh, God,
You'd
that's
be
so
an elf.
cool.
Or would you be
Yeah.
half elf?
No, I'd be a full on.
Full elf.
Full elf.
Full-on elf.
Very
Yeah.
wispy elf.
Oh, yeah.
Or would you be a
Never go
fighty
full
elf?
elf.
Wispy elf or fighty elf?
Whiff.
A whiffy elf.
A whiffy elf. Yeah.
It's a whiffy
I've
elf.
had baked beans.
smelly
it's the-
elf.
Oh, yeah.
Smelly elf.
That's
She's been hanging about in Mirkwood with the
yeah.
dwarves.
Been fed beans blindfolded.
Yeah.
maybe it's a friend of Radagast the Brow.
Oh,
The
yeah.
brown. He eats far too many mushrooms.
It's his teeth.
Yes. Anyway, actually, interesting things. Do you notice things on Lord of the Rings? For example, you were saying about Sean Bean not going in the helicopter, but you notice when the Rohirrim meet.
I know this is
Yeah.
coming.
Did you notice that
Eowyn.
Eowyn's
Eowyn?
not
Is it
Eowyn.
Eomer?
Eomer, thank you. His sword falls out of his scabbard.
I didn't. You pointed this out.
Yeah.
I completely missed it.
I think
and
I
didn't
think
see it.
it's the shot is longer in the extended.
Yeah,
I
'cause
think
I
because
don't
it was
know
quite
if
quick.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's
Yeah,
as you
he
say,
did-
cut.
it's
right
eagle eye-
on the
eagle
It's
eye.
scene.
hilarious. It's like
And he rides off and you go, hang on a minute, you just lost your sword, mate.
so it's kind of
good
like
start.
it's similar to something that happens in Blade Runner where there's this eagle and then on the market that's kind of a statue.
Oh yes, I do.
And then just before it cuts away, it just falls
Falls
down.
over. It's meant to be a live bird.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this parrot is dead.
There's a bit of C-3PO falls off as well in Empire Strikes Back, isn't it?
Really?
Oh, wow.
Where?
When Han and Leia are about to kiss on Hoth and he interrupts them, he pushes them out the room and like one of his bolts and things fall off.
Fall off. I noticed that.
Hope it wasn't-
Although I
hope it
will
wasn't
say,
vital.
for the first time in Raids of the Lost Ark, I actually spotted the hieroglyphics of R2D2 and C3PO for the first time for years. I wanted to spot that, and I actually spotted it the other day. And it's
Isn't
like,
this,
my God, it is there.
the plane he gets in is Obi-Wan as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
Obi-Wan the plane, where he's going, I don't like snakes.
I really enjoyed the fifth one, the new one, Indiana Jones. That was really good. Dial of Destiny.
Podcast for another time.
Anyway, so
Is
there
there
we
an
go.
Indiana Jones Day? Maybe we should leave
Do
on
that.
that.
Nice.
Brilliant.
cool.
So we got to sum up with our superfans. Is Grace a
superfan.
superfan or a fan, or what do you think a superfan is, Grace?
Yeah,
Maybe
it's a
that's
good
what we should ask.
question. I mean, I feel like probably we had this sort of chat earlier. I feel like superfans are probably people who know the films inside and out and can sort of.
Is it know the films, know the books, or just know everything?
That's true, actually. Yeah,
Do you
the
have to know
books as
everything to be a
well.
super?
That's my point. I mean, your
Yeah.
passion seems to be very, very strong for Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
So what would differentiate you from saying, well, my passion is no lesser than somebody else's?
It's true.
I mean, you have horses and swords.
I do have
Not
horses
not
and
many
swords.
not many
yeah.
people have those.
That's it.
I suppose you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, but you'd have fans of Lord of the Rings out there wishing they could ride a horse
Yeah.
and wield a sword around their
That's
head
true.
at the same time.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
you can do that.
Yeah, I still feel like the definition of superfan is like kind of almost borderline obsessed. Sort of.
Stalker.
You do. I saw Liv Tyler in the bathroom.
Talking about bathrooms, we went to go and see.
Damn, we should have had the video cameras in for that one.
So, do you remember when we went to go and see the Lord of the Rings musical?
Yes, yes. Oh, you've not seen the
Wait,
musical? I
wait,
thought we should
wait.
have talked
There's
about
a
the musical.
whole new
Well, we are
world.
now.
Oh, we are now. Yes.
We're still recording.
So, during the intermission, I went to the bathroom, and there
Was
was
Liv
this.
Tyler?
No, was she in the bathroom?
No, there was an orc.
There was
there was an orc.
Oh, you missed the wrong bathroom there, mate.
Anyway, I kicked the orc.
You kicked the
I
orc.
kicked the orc.
There
He
you go.
didn't. He wasn't impressed.
But the actual show, Lord of the Rings, the stage show,
Oh my
was
God, that was
absolutely amazing. Mind
You would have
blowing.
loved it.
Yeah, I think
Mind
I'd
blowing.
really
Brilliant. I mean,
I
such
hope
a
they bring
shame.
it back because it's done now, isn't it?
Oh yeah. It went
Done
a long
for
time
many
ago,
years.
and they videoed it all. I was hoping that they would at least release it on a
Yeah.
DVD or Blu-ray or something, but no. You can get the soundtrack.
Yeah.
You can get the
But not-
soundtrack. If
not-
you haven't, get the soundtrack. It's the
Yeah.
soundtrack. There's a really good Hobbit song in there called "The Cat and the Moon." That's a good one. That is.
Nice.
And
Sounds
but
up
yeah,
my street, yeah.
but it was such a and the stage was superb, and the way they did Gollum, and
Yeah.
especially like when he was falling, and of course the Balrog was amazing. Just the whole stage just.
Yes, how did they do that?
Well, to try and sum up the whole, they're in the Mines of Moria on the stage, and then the theatre's kind of like that bit where you hear the. And
Gandalf goes, oh shit.
Fly!
We were on a quest, and now this has gone.
Yeah, this is too far.
And it was
Too
just,
far.
and the theatre's kind of like dark down to just the characters on the stage.
Yeah.
And then just suddenly, from the back of the stage, this huge Balrog's head and flames, which are all like fabric, just bellow out of the stage.
Like, it unfolds
into
into the audience.
over the front part of the audience, and it's literally breathing
That's
out hot air
amazing.
across
Yeah.
the audience. You got blasted by this hot air, and it's like, I just like, whoa!
That's crazy.
This thing just
Oh.
just literally burst out.
I would have loved to have seen that.
We could just get
I
you
think
to-
that was
to
where the
bring it back.
intermission was, wasn't it? Because they had an intermission where the actual Lord of the Rings, it's got this wonderful, intricate kind of elvish Lord of the Rings motif with Lord of the Rings written on it, and the screen, call it screen curtain, came down with that on it. But as it comes down, they had Gollum, actual proper character, right from the top corner, climb all the way across it, down and across the stage and out. You know?
Yeah.
It was just brilliant. As it was
Really
coming
cool.
down, it's like, wow.
And
Maybe
do you-
we need to set a camera up in here and get you to recreate Lord of the Rings the musical for the people at home
Yes.
who haven't had the
Do you
chance
remember
to
when
experience
Pippin and
it.
Merry were just sitting in the audience eating apples and
Eating
things?
apples and things. Yeah, well, that was the other thing, because they had the orcs and the hobbits would come into the audience.
Yeah.
That was really good, really good. It's
Awesome.
such a shame they haven't really done
Hashtag
it.
Yeah.
bring back Lord of the Rings the
Yeah.
musical.
Let's start a
Let's get it
campaign.
trending, let's
Campaign.
go.
It's a bit long-winded, but we can
Yeah, we
shorten
can
it.
do it.
Okay, so I think that's about it for this episode. Thank you very much, Grace, for coming
you
in
for
and
having
being
me.
our super fan for Lord of the Rings. And it looks like you've got a lot of fandom to pick up on.
I know. Yeah.
You got to get into those appendices.
Oh yeah. Get
But
into the good
before
stuff.
we go, we need to.
pick out the next Now We Know Show flashback subject. So this will be the topic of an episode for our YouTube and exclusive Patreon members. So
Grace.
Oh, I
As
did
the
the
guest.
honour. Oh
yeah,
my
Grace,
goodness.
you've got to die. This is a genuine
Okay, ready?
Just don't pick the Lord of the Rings one.
Baker Street Sherlock Holmes
Okay,
Deerstalker.
got this
what
one.
will we be flashing back to at
I'm
this
going to
time?
hand this to Buzz.
Oh, you want me to read
I
it
want
out?
you to read it. There you
Okay. Oh, I've been given the honour. Episode 10.
Episode 10.
Episode 10.
Ooh.
Escape Room.
go. Ooh.
You said, Jack, last
I
time
said
that you
was
actually
one of my-
really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was one of my favourites.
Ah.
I'm waiting for the fantasy game to come out. That's the one I'm
No,
wanting.
no.
Oh, yeah,
Should we
No.
say
Nubbly
the
women.
nubbly women.
Stop. You heard nothing.
I had nothing.
You heard
The
nothing.
That was,
nubbly
yeah,
women.
that was, yeah.
You've got to listen to the fantasy.
Peak Now We Know Show.
But you don't even know what episode it is. Like, I'm not telling you.
It's the fancy adventure game.
Fancy
Fail.
adventure game.
No,
Fail.
no.
Find it. It was such a. It's hilarious. Anyway, on that
I
note,
apologise in advance.
So
On
how
that
we
note-
how we
It was a
talk
dark
about
time.
escape room?
One hour we talk about escape room. Have you been to some escape rooms?
Would you like to do more
Since the
escape room
episode?
episodes?
Yes.
Stuff like that.
And that's
Okay.
what we were discussing and having a flashback to.
Right.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for listening, everybody.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please like and subscribe to this channel and comment below any suggestions of topics or activities you'd like to listen to in future episodes. That's a big... That's a big... Smaug. Why does it cry, Smaug? Cruel man hurts us. Leave us alone. Nasty little hobbitses, they stole it from us. What did they steal? Mal process. Ah! Goodbye from Zach.
Beautiful.
And that's a dwarven goodbye from Buzz.
That's an extended goodbye from Jack.
And it's a you shall not pass goodbye from Grace.
Ooh.
Dun, 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 dun. Hey, we did it.
You can find the Now We Know Show podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. Keep up to date with everything ZWP on Facebook and Instagram, or visit the Zak Wylde Productions website at www.zakwyldeproductions.com. And remember to join us on Patreon or become a YouTube member for early access content and exclusive episodes.